on Free Speech TV and online on Talker TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 11 minutes before the top of the hour. Leo Gerard, the president of the SteelWorkers Union, joining us at the top of the next hour, and then Brad Woodhouse here from American Bridge. Right now, we are happy to have in studio with us Fawn Johnson, staff reporter for the National Journal, starting her 4th of July weekend here on the Bill Press Show. Brought us some hot sauce this morning. And by the way, those of you around the globe who might have been having a little trouble with our video stream this morning, we apologize. But we want to report that we are now not only there on your local progressive talk radio station, as we are every morning, nationwide, coast to coast. We are also there on Free Speech TV. And now we're back up on our worldwide video stream, Talker TV, youtube.com/Talker TV. Monty Kanzler he's had the pliers out and,
we've got some
adjusting
chicken wire
all the
and duct
wires
tape.
and everything, duct tape.
We're back up.
Somehow we got to back up. Right.
Monty and I joined forces against some company called Schmaz.
So if they can fix our video stream, maybe they can fix the Highway Trust Fund. It runs out of money. Why is that important?
Well,
or does it really run out of money? They always say it does.
Totally run out of money until the beginning of the current year. But this is the fund that our federal gas taxes go into pave our roads and fix our potholes and whatnot. And it is, I think we've talked about this in the past. It is taking in less money, or it is pulling out more money than it is taking in. In part because people are driving more fuel efficient cars, and in part because the gas tax hasn't been raised in 20 years. So the problem we're facing is that starting in August, the federal government is going to have to start giving the states less money. Now, keep in mind that a lot of the projects that we're talking about have already been done and paid for, and now the states are billing the federal government for their share of it.
Got it.
And so what the transportation secretary said this last week is, states, get ready. We're going to have to start cutting back. And so this is a real problem. This is not a small thing. I think it's more of a trickle problem rather than a cliff, so to speak. What happens is that sometime in August, the trust fund will have a small enough amount of money in it that they can't pay out any more to the states.
But it also mean that new projects won't be able to be started, right?
Because I think that's already happening, actually.
Right. There won't be as much, which means where areas where they need new roads and need new connector roads, or they need to fix existing roads, it's the work's not going to get done.
It varies state by state. I mean, this is the place where it gets a little tricky. Is that only about a quarter of the money that goes into transportation comes from the federal government. The rest of it comes from the states, but on a state by state basis, it depends. Some states depend for half of their highway funds from the federal government, and some states are better prepared than others. So, for example, Maryland passed its own state gas tax increase earlier this year, which means that it can weather the storm, so to speak, a little bit better than some other states.
Now, it's interesting that some former leaders, Ed Rendell, former governor of Pennsylvania, and Ray LaHood, former Secretary of Transportation, have put out an app so people can actually get involved in this. And the app is called I'm Stuck. Here is
I saw that.
What Ed Rendell, how he describes it.
Basically says, Senator, Congressman, I'm stuck in a traffic jam. And the traffic jam is a result of an inferior, crumbling infrastructure. You all have the power to do something about it. We want you to act, and we want you to act now.
So I'm in this damn traffic jam on Highway 66. It's your fault. Maybe if they hear from enough angry people, Congress might act.
Sometimes, however, traffic jams are caused by construction. So, I always wonder about that.
Traffic jams might also be caused by people on their phones trying to mess around with apps.
But I do think that there's the one thing that I've always wondered is whether people will ever make the leap. I mean, there's several steps between my traffic jam and, my highways, but why not?
And
right?
inaction on the part of Congress.
Well,
Right.
I mean, it is interesting how the thing that I find so fun is that there's a few people in Congress who think that this isn't a huge problem. They would prefer to see the states step up. And, but they're in the minority. The business community is kind of freaking out. The Barbara Boxer, the Democrat from California, is also just, it's a crisis. Most people in Congress agree that they need to do something, but they can't find a way to do it.
I know. You would think this is one issue on which Republicans and Democrats could get together, and with that, we just have to, with that little glimmer of hope, maybe,
I think they'll fix it.
we have to end it here. And Fawn Johnson, thank you so much for coming in. Happy 4th. Have a great
4th.
weekend. Okay.
Yes.
And come back and see us again
We'll
soon.
see you again.
All right. Fawn Johnson here from National Journal, nationaljournal.com. We'll be right back. Tell you what the president's up to today.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This next song goes out to someone real.
Award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
I probably would make a time machine. I would make medicine for the sick. I'd probably invent something new.
我会赢到5个总冠军戒指。
If I could have an extra 5 years to live.
You said 5, right?
5 years. It's a long time.
I would try to fix everything I did bad.
I would bring my uncle back because I miss him very much.
I would get more hamsters.
I would probably want to go looking for dark matter. I think I'd go looking for aliens. If I could live an extra 5 years.
I was thinking about making like a helicopter, like a wooden helicopter, but I don't have any wood.
I want to go check out the moon sometime.
I'd probably teach my sister not to hate tuna.
I would try and invent a machine that lets you run at light speed.
If I had 5 more extra years to live.
I would be the boss of all the chipmunks.
Eu cantaria na frente de 1 milhão de pessoas. I don't really know. I think I'd do anything.
Why are you asking me that?
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Well, come on, it's July 4th for some people, but at any rate, the only things on his schedule, the daily briefing he gets every morning, this morning at 10 o'clock, and then he and the vice president are going to have lunch. That's it. Wrap it up. Maybe they ought to go out to lunch.
Man,
you know, get some
bear's
uncle,
loose.
Get some Uncle Brother. Turn the bear loose. Press briefing at 12:30 today.
This is the Bill Press Show.
you wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
I'm the retired bishop with the Episcopal Church as the bishop for all chaplains in federal service. I read that there was a group of people that represented a sense of injustice that I had. We'd lost Zuccotti. There was a kind of a hope that maybe Trinity Church would be gracious and give refuge. We picked this day where we would gather and demonstrate that Trinity was closing its ears to what was happening. We marched around the block, and I realized that, my goodness, they're carrying a ladder. And I thought, well, this is the moment. You could feel a spiritual presence. You could feel a certain something. And then the cops came in. It got brutal.
I'm with you right here. Robin, I'm here.
The church needed, in this moment in history, to stand alongside of these protesters. The truth of Christ is found in the pews, is found in the institutional church, but it is also found in the streets. It's found in the honesty and the integrity, the insistence of people that you find in Occupy Wall Street.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
It may only be July 3rd, but we're already celebrating July 4th, just like the people of Boston celebrating it today, because we don't want Hurricane Arthur to interfere with our plans. Good morning, everybody. What do you say? Good to see you this morning, and thank you for joining us. It is the Bill Press Show. We are here on this Thursday, July 3rd, in our nation's capital and our studio on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., booming out to you all across this great land of ours, coast to coast, on your local progressive talk radio station, on the TuneIn app. Hey, it's free. So download it, and among all the other good things you'll find on the TuneIn app, on the Progressive Voices channel, is our show every morning. TuneIn is the app. And we're also here with you worldwide on our video stream. We now have it fixed. Had a little problem earlier, but booming out to you all around the planet at youtube.com/talkertv. And who gets the shout out this morning? Costa Rica. Costa Rica. Still in the World Cup. And chances pretty good. So it was no game yesterday, no game today. When the next game's tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Friday.
At noon. Tomorrow at noon, it's France and Germany.
Aha. Okay.
And I believe it's Costa Rica tomorrow playing Netherlands.
Got it. Yeah. All right. No, that's right. Well,
you made me doubt myself.
No, let's just remember the World Cup continues, even without Team USA.
That's right. That's the important thing.
Right, it is. Peter Ogburn and Lisa Murphy, our team here this morning. Hi, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Hey,
Alicia Cruz has got the phones covered, ready to take your calls at 866-55-PRESS. And Monty Canceller here on our video stream this morning with Cyprian Bowling out for a couple of days. Speaking of Team USA, President Obama reached out to them yesterday. He placed a call. I think he's going to invite them to the White House when they're back in this country, but for the time being, he placed a call to the team captain, Clint Dempsey, yesterday, as well as the man we call the Secretary of Defense.
That's him.
Tim Howard.
You guys all did us proud, not just by how hard you played and how well you did, but also you guys just carry yourselves with a lot of class, and it makes people really respect the sport.
Absolutely. Great effort. Respect that team and respect the sport. The president had a little advice for Tim Howard that they better recognize he's going to be a rock star when he comes back to the United States after those 16 phenomenal saves, and he might want to change his appearance a little bit.
I don't know how you're going to survive the mobs when you come back home, man. You're just like, you're going to have to shave your beard so they don't know who you are.
Well, we heard you were watching, and we know how big a supporter you are, so hopefully we made you proud. It was our honor, as it always is, to represent our country.
Yep, they did make us
proud. It's a very
proud.
diplomatic answer, by the way.
Yeah.
He may have
Secretary of
politics.
Yeah, right. Basically, he was saying, I'm not shaving my beard.
Tell you what,
All right.
he should have said, tell you what, Mr. President, I'll shave my beard when you grow one.
All right. Yeah, lots coming up here. We kick off this hour with our good friend, President of the United Steelworkers of America, Leo Gerard. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories making news in preparation for Independence Day. Thrillist, the website, put together the top 50 American foods. Of course, we don't have to agree with everything on the list.
No.
So I'll just throw out a couple from the top 10. You want to take a couple of guesses?
mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese is number 11 on the list.
No.
Number
All
11.
Right. Okay.
Others on the list, chicken fried steak, fried chicken, barbecue, apple pie, buffalo wings, and chili dogs.
Chili dogs.
Chili dogs. Specifically chili dogs, not just hot dogs.
All right. I'm surprised mac and cheese isn't higher, but
I don't disagree with you.
Muskrat. Muskrat didn't make it?
Muskrat is not on the list, Bill.
Damn.
There's always next year. Sad news for some music fans. Styx and Foreigner, the two bands from the 70s and 80s, are performing in Philadelphia, and their tour buses caught on fire.
Ooh.
It started with Styx, and then it spread over to the Foreigner bus because they were parked right next to each other. They were performing one right after the other. The good news is nobody was in the bus. Most of the belongings had been taken out of the buses, so nobody was hurt. But the buses are grounded for now.
Man, those are expensive buses, too.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And are you a fan of the Syracuse Chiefs minor league baseball team? Just how big a fan are you? Well, 36 fans went out and got specially designed tattoos on their arm. And if you did, you got free tickets for life.
Wow.
Free admission to Syracuse Chiefs games forever and ever. Amen. Now, here's the thing. They specially designed this to where if you showed up with a fake tattoo, they would know, because the design that they put out for people to get it actually had a little
chip in it.
It would show up under a black light. So they would wave a black light over the logo to see if it was an actual real tattoo, and if it was, then you got free tickets for life. 36 fans took them up on that offer.
Man, how about that?
Do we have to check you for Spurs tattoos, Peter?
I have no Spurs tattoos. No Spurs tattoos.
Yeah. It was interesting. I noticed this morning that the Metropolitan Opera in New York is going to do the same thing for the opera lovers.
Yeah?
Yeah. You get free opera tickets if you have
a big old tattoo.
Big old Metropolitan Opera tattoo on your butt or something. I don't know. Thank you for all the latest news, Peter.
Yes, all the important
news that we could not live without. Indeed.
You got it.
All right. Hey, I'm telling you, here we are. 4th of July, no better way to celebrate the 4th of July than to celebrate America's great unions and our great working families and our great labor leaders like Leo Gerard, who is the president of the International United Steelworkers, joining us on our newsline this morning. Leo, what's going on? How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm still cursing and swearing and walking up and down about the Supreme Court decisions.
Well, yeah. How do you know I wanted to...
Elections have consequences, right?
Boy, I'll tell you. How do you know that's where I wanted to start with you this morning? I mean, basically, the Supreme Court is saying, and I'd like to get your take on it, the way I see it, is that it's okay to be a freeloader, right? To get all the goodies and not participate in helping pay for it.
They've decided that they want to encourage freeloading, not just that it's okay. They've made it really clear that they think it's the right way to go about trying to run an economy is to keep people sort of from participating in the process. I often, when these things occur, I say to people, look, I'm in Pennsylvania. I don't like Governor Corbett. I didn't vote for Governor Corbett. I don't support hardly any of his ideas. So I should get the same rights as the home care workers. I should be able to say, I'm not going to pay my state taxes because I don't like you. I don't like what you stand for. What kind of baloney is that? You know, the only place that this happens, Bill, the only place where you ever hear people talking about right to work, which is not right to work, it's not right to a job, it's the right to freeload. The only places that happens, unfortunately, is U.S. and Canada. That doesn't exist in any of the other of the OECD countries. In fact, in France and some places like that, and in Germany and in Scandinavian countries, in France and in Germany, you can have representation, and everybody has to pay their fair share on dues, even with less than 50% representation. Then you go to the Scandinavian countries, you see how well their economies are going.
Yep.
The rate of unionization is 80, 85, and 90%. And the reason that the rates are that high is they understand everybody should have a voice. Everybody should be able to participate in the development of their workplace.
You know, you mentioned right to work. I saw something this morning. I just wanted to check with you that in the United States, and I forget what 4 states that they are, but the 4 states that are at the bottom in terms of wages today and workers' benefits across the board are all 4 right-to-work states, which just shows what that...
All 4 right-to-work states.
Yeah, right-to-work states.
Sorry,
right?
go ahead.
So-called right-to-work.
They're all 4 right-to-work states. They're all so-called right-to-work states, right-to-work for less. They're all freeloading states, and they happen to be all very southern states. And it's if you follow, I don't want to sound like I'm making a racial issue out of this exactly, but if you follow what happened after the passage of by FDR of the right to organize and the act, my brain just died. Too early in the morning. The act. What you ended up doing is all the southern states were passing right to work. And the reason they were passing right to work is they wanted to keep wages down, just like they had done prior to the changes in legislation. And then it started to migrate north when there were right-wing Republican governments. And we've seen what's happened with the court, and we've seen what's happened in other states like Indiana, Michigan. Give me a break.
Right. You know,
and now you're starting to see the effect that this has on inequality.
Right.
The rocket science.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Now, with the Supreme Court, this decision only applied to home health care workers, but is there any doubt that it won't be long before the court tries to take it to the next level, or somebody through the court tries to take it across the board?
Well, the way I interpreted what I saw and what I read is that they applied it very narrowly in this case, but in a way we're inviting others to bring other cases.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're targeting in this case they're targeting workers that were given the right to collective bargaining at whichever level by their state. The governor of Illinois. Pat Quinn helped get the right to collective bargaining to home care workers, because many of them, which if you factored in the hours they were working, they were getting less than minimum wage.
Absolutely. Right.
And so as an act of fairness, he gave them the right to collective bargaining. Well, now if the Supreme Court says you have the right to freeload because you're whatever quasi-government employee, well, then what happens to the next group of workers who are in that predicament, who are getting paid? And then what happens to the one after that?
Oh, yeah.
I suspect that the Supreme Court, right-wing side of the Supreme Court, understands that they've created a slippery slope, and they're inviting others now.
Absolutely, which is why you say start out by saying elections do have consequences. People have to remember that. I also saw, we're talking with Leo Gerard, the president of the United Steelworkers at usw.org. And we're very grateful for their sponsorship of this program. You heard me mention them a lot. Thank you again, Leo. I saw your article in Huffington Post this week. You write often for Huffington Post. The headline caught me: Asian steel industry eats America's lunch. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why are we letting them get away with that?
There's a long history of in America of having accumulated trade deficits. Since we passed this, what was preferential negotiation with China to let them into the WTO, I'm going to give you a number that should knock people on their butt. We've accumulated in those 12 years a trade deficit, any way you'd like to put it, of in excess of $7 trillion.
Whoa!
What that means is there's been a wealth transfer by us buying more junk from China and paying for it with credit than we've had them buy from us. So it's nothing but a wealth transfer. So if you look at what we've done, I'll take the steel industry as an example. China has flooded our markets. In the world, there's demand for about 1.4 billion tons of steel. America produces a little over 100 million if we had a good year. China produces almost 800 million tons of steel.
Wow.
And there's 500 million tons of excess capacity. So most of it coming from China or India or South Korea or Brazil, countries that are wanting to expand their industrial base and to keep their unit costs down. They produce more steel than they need. Then they find the easiest market to dump it in, and guess where it is? It's in America.
Yeah.
So as an example, the highest value product made in the steel industry are called oil country tubular goods. It's the oil tubes or the tubes that are used for drilling for oil and natural gas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, China had flooded our markets to the rate of almost 50% penetration, selling below the cost of their own cost of production. We filed a trade case. It took 3 years to get from start to finish.
Oh my God!
During that time, we pushed China out of the market, but we lost about 15 mills. Now that we've pushed China out of the market because they can't compete on a level playing field, guess who's taken their place? The Koreans. Well, the Koreans knew we would win the case. They built over the 3 years a brand new steel industry, and they're now up to 40% market penetration. They cheat. They sell below the cost of production. They have no iron ore. They have no coal. They have no limestone. They have nothing to make steel with. They have to import everything. They do it. They make oil country tubular goods, and they don't drill 1 inch. They don't buy 1 pound of that oil country tubular goods for their market. 98% of it is targeted to America. And it's killing our industry.
And so that, in terms, why would it take 3 years to get your to get that enforcement?
Because the law's lousy.
Yeah, I guess that's a quick answer, huh?
Yeah, what you got to do is you got to file a case. You got to prove A, that they're cheating, and B, that you've been injured. And so, how do you prove that you've been injured? Well, you got to prove as the company and the workers that you've had loss of market share, you've lost a margin on your profitability, you've had to close plants, you've had to lay off workers, workers have had to have reduced hours if they weren't laid off, and then that proves you've been injured. Well, once you do that, then there's an appeal process.
Oh, yeah.
The other side appeals.
Sure.
Then you go through that baloney, and then after that, if they're found guilty, it then goes to the Commerce Department, and the Commerce Department has a lengthy period of time where they determine what was the level of injury and what's the right remedy. And they recommend that remedy then to the International Trade Commission that holds another bunch of hearings about whether or not the remedy is adequate.
Whoa.
So you go through that chicken dance. And while that's going on, American workers, and both the people that make steel and the people in the supply chain, they lose their jobs.
Right, as you say. Yeah, while that's going on, they are eating our lunch. With that, we got to run along, Leo. But thank God you're out there fighting the good fight. I don't know whether we ever win it, but we're in a lot better shape because of good people like you and letting us know about and fighting the good fight. Thanks so much, Leo.
Say this. We're okay. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Talk to you again soon. Leo Gerard, head of the United Steelworkers at USW.org.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, Brad Woodhouse, who is the president of American Bridge, of course, coming up at the top of the next hour. And meanwhile, July 4th, tomorrow, some people are already starting to celebrate July 3rd. Up in Bristol, Rhode Island, it's the nation's oldest 4th of July celebration.
It is a patriotic celebration that really is more than a party. It's all about the patriotism of the people in the country, and we just happen to be the oldest one doing it.
Oldest one, Bristol, Rhode Island. That's the mayor, Ray Levy of Bristol, Rhode Island. How about that? I don't know why it got started there, but it certainly has caught on.
It sure
and
has.
in case you are just joining us, Boston has moved its 4th of July celebration to today, July 3rd, because they don't want any troubles with Hurricane Arthur tomorrow. Back with Brad Woodhouse here.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look! Your crush is looking at you.
Or you.
They
want to help but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach
likes
your
you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
I probably would make a time machine. I would make medicine for the sick. I'd probably invent something new.
我会赢到5个总冠军戒指。
If I could have an extra 5 years to live.
You said 5, right?
5 years. It's a long time.
I would try to fix everything I did bad.
I would bring my uncle back because I miss him very much.
I would get more hamsters.
I would probably want to go looking for dark matter. I think I'd go looking for aliens. If I could live an extra 5 years.
I was thinking about making like a helicopter, like a wooden helicopter, but I don't have any wood.
I want to go check out the moon sometime.
I'd probably teach my sister not to hate tuna.
I would try and invent a machine that lets you run at light speed.
If I had 5 more extra years to live.
I would be the boss of all the chipmunks.
Eu cantaria na frente de 1 milhão de pessoas. I don't really know. I think I'd do anything.
Why are you asking me that?
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, here we go, 33 minutes after the hour. How about it? On a Thursday morning, July 3rd. I've never seen anything like this. People are jumping the gun on July 4th because of Hurricane Arthur heading up the coast, the East Coast at any rate, and projected to hit North Carolina, the Outer Banks, which sticks out there anyhow. They always get hit by the hurricanes. Projected to hit there sometime tomorrow morning. All up and down the East Coast, they're changing their plans. The city of Boston has officially decided they're celebrating July 4th today, July 3rd. Well, that's where the Independence Day started, so they could do whatever the hell they wanted, right? Brad Woodhouse is here from American Bridge with us for this next half an hour. Hello, Brad. Great to see you.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Happy almost 4th.
Or 4th if you're in Boston.
4th, that's right. Happy 4th. We'll just call this next period of time the 4th.
Peter and I were wondering, what happens with all those people who have the 4th off but not the 3rd off? Do they now have the 3rd off, right? Because if they have all these events and these festivities, and they moved them all to today.
Right.
Somebody's got to show up.
Well,
right?
that's right. I mean, you would think with the storm coming, I think bosses will be flexible. You would think.
If you're listening to the show in Boston, you have our permission to just not go to work today. All right. Like
that's the power of radio, right? I mean,
tell them the Bill Press show said not to come into work today, and you can have the day off. You're welcome.
Well, why stop at Boston?
Yeah.
I think if you're anywhere
in
where
the Eastern
Arthur,
time zone.
First of all, everyone
Eastern time zone.
Everyone should toast Arthur with a drink. And somebody has called this Hurricane Dudley Moore, right? I mean, that is because I don't remember there being an Arthur hurricane before. So it's a real opportunity. I mean, people do tend to toast these things a little bit, maybe a little bit too much.
Right? Yeah. No,
are you? I think Bill's mixing a martini now.
I know. I'm mixing my martini. It does always look like a martini shaker. It's just a thermos with iced tea in it. Right. All right. So
hey, that's good news.
So, I was just about
there
to
it is.
say,
Let's have the latest job numbers. Let's start right there.
Latest job numbers out right now. 288,000 jobs were created last month. That means the unemployment rate falls to 6.1%. That's
from 6.3, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Whoa. Brad, I forget how many months. I won't hold you to it if you don't remember either. But this is several months where we've had positive job growth and several over 5 or 6, I think, now over 200.
Over 200,000. I don't have the number in front of me, but we have had
Peter
something
can find it while we're talking.
We've had something like 4.5 years of positive job growth. Private sector job growth. We've obviously we've seen a reduction in jobs in the government sector, and with the Republicans doing what they've been doing. But this is tremendous, and I think there was a lot of people on the right in particular jumping all over the GDP numbers for the first quarter, but the job numbers I think have belied what people are trying to take out of the GDP, which clearly was, and certainly probably the job numbers have been affected by this, but the winter that we had that just shut down so much commerce and activity. I mean, I'm not an economist. I don't even want to play one on the radio, but I do think that you'll see the GDP numbers for the second quarter turn around, and I think these job numbers wouldn't be where they are if the economy was in as bad a shape as the Republicans seem to hope it is for political reasons.
The consensus is a very, very good job numbers report. One thing that people are really grabbing onto here: long-term unemployed, those that have been without a job for over 27 weeks, that fell 293,000, so it's down to 3.1 million, which is still a lot, but that's down 1.2 million since last year.
Yeah.
So that the long-term unemployment is also, we're seeing that.
Well, I think that's a real sign that the economy is beginning to chug along, because people that have found it hard to find work are increasingly finding work. But let me tell you this, Bill. This, to me, does not. 6.1% is unacceptably high. I mean, we want to see it continue to fall, and I don't think that this should be an opportunity for Republicans to say, "Well, see, we don't need to deal with this unemployment insurance extension," because, as you said, it's dropped dramatically, but there's still a large percentage of the unemployed are in the long-term unemployed category. Many of them lost their benefits because Republicans wouldn't extend them at the end of last year. We're still fighting on the Hill. Jack Reed is still fighting on the Hill. Sandy Levin in the House is still fighting on the Hill, as is Leader Pelosi and all the Democrats and the president to get that extension done. It'd be good for the economy.
You got to put this in context. 288,000 is huge. Particularly when you remember in January 2009, we were losing 800,000
jobs.
800,000 jobs a month.
One other quick nugget from this report. They always do the revisions from the past couple months, and they adjust it to something a little more realistic. All of the revisions are up, including April, originally reported at 282,000. They've revised that to 304,000 jobs added in April, which is monster.
Yeah,
That's a big report.
That's a big number.
So, this is some good news, pardon me, for the president. And
here's what I want. While we're on the air, look for what the Republican criticism is in this. Because it's predictable that no matter what the number is, no matter what the rate is, they'll find something wrong with it. It'd be interesting if some of them just maybe lie low and don't issue statements, but the RNC in particular always finds something bad to say. This is something that all Americans should celebrate. I understand Republicans don't think it's good for them politically, but getting people back to work is something every American should celebrate. Right. But Republicans won't.
So some good news for President Obama this morning, and God knows he needs some good news. It's been a rocky road lately with the VA and all the problems there. Iraq, kind of falling apart. John Boehner says he's going to sue him. Team USA loses in the World Cup, and then yesterday...
Well, don't put that on the president.
No, I won't. But bad news in the sense of... he wanted them to win, obviously. Right. We all did. And then yesterday he wakes up and there's this Quinnipiac University poll that says 33% of Americans say he is the worst president since World War II. 69 years, 12 presidents, that he is rated the worst, 33%. What's going on?
Well, I mean, look, it's a dumb question to ask. I mean, look, it's fine. Ask it, whatever you want to do. But I mean, of course, but don't in a poll where a quarter of your sample or more are Tea Partiers and half your sample is, at least a strong plurality of your sample is Republicans. Of course, they're going to say that. I mean, they have exhibited this hatred for the president since the day he beat John McCain, if not earlier. They've exhibited this hatred for him. They've tried to delegitimize him. They're talking impeachment. Boehner is suing the president. I think you can look at it one of two ways: either he's trying to hold off the crazies who want impeachment, or it's a precursor to impeachment. And so, of course, they're going to respond with that type of. Result in that poll. It is utterly meaningless.
Well, first of all, it is factually not true.
Right.
I mean, if you want to talk about a Democrat, Jimmy Carter, in terms of governance and what they was able to get done, great guy, but didn't accomplish a lot as president.
Right.
And then look at Richard Nixon.
Right.
And even look at Ronald Reagan. I mean, his presidency. I mean, they keep saying he walked on water. He didn't.
Right. He didn't, and
drove the country in the poorhouse, among other things.
It's frustrating.
So factually not true. But I found most interesting is at the very same period in his presidency, with 2 years to go, they did the identical poll, identical question under George W. Bush. And guess who was then rated the worst president since World War II?
I'm assuming George W. Bush.
George W. Bush.
Right.
By the same percentage. Well, Obama's 33, he was 34.
Right.
So it's sort of like, at this time, I mean, we are so fickle as a populace, right, that you sort of get tired of the guy who's in there and you blame everything on the guy who's in there and you're already thinking about who's next.
Well, that's true, and it's partisan. I mean, it's just
totally
clearly clearly partisan. I mean, so I mean, it's it's headlines are fun, and and people like to report these things. I just think it's just a stupid parlor game. I mean,
so we hope the president doesn't.
I hope he doesn't.
I hope he doesn't take it too seriously.
I assure you, he's not taking. He's not paying any. I think he's paying a lot more attention to the jobs report than he is the Quinnipiac poll.
That's sort of the ultimate poll.
It really is. I mean,
in terms of it shows what it really shows. I think is confidence in the economy, confidence in the recovery.
Right.
Where for a while there was always this question about. Are we going to slip back?
Right.
Are we going to double dip? Nobody's saying that anymore.
Well, and
it's all forward.
Well, and that's so and that's the interesting thing. So I got all these. I'm sure as you do, these trolls on Twitter that were hammering me over the GDP report.
Yeah,
but the interesting thing about the GDP report that that showed the economy contracting in the first quarter was Wall Street didn't react to it. They knew it for what it is. That the fundamentals of the I don't want to sound like John McCain here, so let me back up. But the economy is strong. The recovery is strong. That winter was a little unprecedented in terms of what it did to the economy, and they didn't react negatively to the GDP report, but I predict they'll act positively to this jobs report.
Yeah, and it has been steady, as you pointed
That's
out,
right.
steady, up, maybe not as fast as we want, but steady in the right direction here. Brad Woodhouse with the good news on today's jobs report, and we're just discounting the Quinnipiac poll. I hope you do too. 866-55-PRESS is our toll-free number. We'll be right back here on the Bill Press Show, Thursday morning.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on Talker TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
12 minutes now before the top of the hour. Kind of quiet here in Washington because Congress is out of town. In fact, the president has a very light schedule today at the White House, sort of easing into the 4th of July celebration. We do so with our good friend Brad Woodhouse, president of American Bridge, in studio with us. Talking about, among other things, the latest job numbers, 288,000 new private sector jobs created in the month of June.
Yes.
And the unemployment rate ticking down from 6.3 to 6.1%.
The lowest it's been since September of 2008. So the lowest of the Obama presidency, and the lowest going back into the last few months of the Bush presidency.
Right.
So,
Brad, before we move on, let's say a quick hello here to Richard out in Chicago on the great WCPT. Hey, Richard, good morning.
Kind of Chicago. I'm in one of the red suburbs, but
okay.
I just wanted you guys to hear that not all Republicans dislike this president. I like the very pragmatic way that he handles his business. And those kind of polls, I mean, you're talking to probably people that are under 30, which I'm a little older than 30, but they don't know who. If you ask who was the president before George W. Bush, they'll probably say Abraham Lincoln.
You are you are so right. Absolutely. Go ahead, Richard. Yeah.
Ariana Grande. I mean, they're not going to have. They're not going to have a. I'm sorry, young people, but you just don't seem to be involved or even care about what happened before your MacBook. So don't worry about those stupid polls. None of us mature people and young people you will all be 30 someday. So let's face that Quinnipiac poll is not reality. He's not a bad president. I did not vote for him because I have a certain political and social view of life. But he's still a fine man, and we'll all make it through this, Bill. You and I used to watch you back in L.A. on WABC.
Oh my God, KABC. Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. Hey, Richard, so good to hear from you. And give us a call. Give us a call again.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah, please.
That is like so heartening and refreshing, it's like what you would love to hear from Republican political leaders. I mean, instead of fomenting this, this angst and anger in their constituents.
Instead of a John Boehner, we can't trust him to enforce the law.
It's unbelievable.
Right?
It's unbelievable that you would say that about a U.S. president. If someone said that about a Republican president, Republicans would hit the roof.
You'd be branded as a traitor.
You'd be branded as a traitor. There's a lack of respect towards this president from Republican leaders. I'm so glad to hear from a Republican, someone who didn't vote for the president, who said, "You know what? I don't feel that way."
And by the way, I appreciate that on his part. I mean, look, right? But it reminds me what Rich was saying about the poll and the young people. Okay, so if we could just Jimmy Kimmel. Was having some fun with the World Cup. So he has a little feature called Lie Witness News. In fact, Richard mentioned I started on KABC in L.A.
Right.
Eyewitness News. So for his Lie Witness News segment, right after the World Cup, he went out on Hollywood Boulevard, had his reporter, Hollywood Boulevard in L.A., and asked him about what they thought about the World Cup, particularly the performance of Landon Donovan, who was scrubbed from the team, never even played.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
Here's the reaction he got on the street, Hollywood Boulevard.
What is the best play you've seen from Landon Donovan in the World Cup this year?
When he played against Portugal. And I was surprised when I saw that 2-1.
And the tricycle kick he did at the end, or
it was. I was like, I cried too.
You cried?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
I cried at the you call it a tricycle kick.
Yeah, he cried. It was so great. I cried. The guy wasn't even in the game. He didn't even go to Brazil. I mean,
that's the best.
To me, that typifies a lot of people, young and old.
Yeah.
The way they respond to polls.
Right. That's exactly right. They substitute their knowledge for actual knowledge, right? I mean,
they don't know what they're talking about. Right. I bet if you ask, unfortunately, too many Americans, as Richard said, who was the president before Barack Obama, or like two before Obama, right? Or even start.
Who was the president before Bill Clinton? People would probably. Younger people would really scratch their heads on that one, I think. So,
and people, we have this convenient case of amnesia. I think you forget about Richard Nixon. Oh my God! Right. Now suddenly, you forget about anyhow all the different Iran-Contra and all that stuff.
Oh, I know it.
Unbelievable. Big plans for the 4th?
Well, I'm a bachelor. As I mentioned to y'all, my wife and kids are out of town, so we'll see what the weather's like here. Maybe take in another Nats game, by the way. 5 in a row.
I know.
They got Bryce Harper back.
I know.
Worth is hitting again.
Yeah.
The pitching, the bullpen, I mean, the defense. It's all coming together. Watch out, Braves. Watch out, Braves.
That's the real test, too. All right. However you do it, have a great one. Thanks, Brad, for coming in.
Thank you. Both to you, too.
All right. And I'll be back with a quick parting shot.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is possible to read the history of this country as one long struggle to extend the liberties established in our Constitution to everyone in America. In other words, who, according to our laws and culture, gets to be considered a person? The law creates legal personhood, and movements create law and change culture. So, how have the courts passed laws to shape our culture? That history goes way back before Citizens United. 1819, Dartmouth College versus Woodward, Supreme Court case, turned a corporate charter from a government-granted charter to a contract. This ruling gave corporations standing within the Constitution. 1886, Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad. Though the court did not rule on corporate personhood, the decision was subsequently cited as a precedent to hold that a private corporation is entitled to the same 14th Amendment rights of due process and equal protection as human beings. This makes it impossible for us to make laws that treat local businesses any differently than giant multinational corporations, even if their business practices are deemed to be harmful to workers, the environment, and communities, or if they have a history of violating the law. Hale versus Henkel, 1906. The court granted corporations the Fourth Amendment search and seizure protection. Dodge versus Ford Motor Company, 1919. The Michigan Supreme Court says the business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. Stockholder primacy is established. The purpose of the corporation, according to the court, is no longer to serve the public good, as it had been. It is now to maximize profit for shareholders above all else. Pennsylvania Coal Company versus Mahon, 1922. Corporations get the Fifth Amendment takings clause, meaning if you pass a regulation that impacts a corporation's ability to make a profit, that is deemed a taking, and they can sue for the right to future profits lost. This creates a chilling effect, and local and state governments become much more hesitant to pass laws in the public interest for fear that corporations can claim loss of potential profits that cities and states will be on the hook to pay. Buckley versus Vallejo, 1976. The Supreme Court rules that spending money to influence elections is protected under the First Amendment, in effect saying that money is speech. Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, 2010.
Today, the Supreme Court of Chief Justice John Roberts declared that because of the alchemy of its 19th century predecessors in deciding that corporations had all the rights of people, any restrictions on how these corporate beings spend their money on political advertising are unconstitutional.
The court's ruling threatens to undermine the integrity of elected institutions across the nation. It's a rejection of the common sense of the American people.
The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is the Bill Press Show.
Well, poor President Obama. He's had a rough week. Iraq falls apart. John Boehner threatens to sue him. The USA loses out in the World Cup. And now he's hit with a horrible new poll, as we've been discussing. The latest Quinnipiac University survey. President Obama scoring at the very bottom. 33% of Americans rate him the worst president since World War II. Nobody scored lower. Well, there are only two things you can say about that poll. Number one, it is just dead wrong. Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush were all three, in my opinion, far worse at governing than Barack Obama. But two, this is standard procedure for every president. We got to remember that. When he had 2 years ago, they did the same poll, Quinnipiac University, under George W. Bush, and he was rated the worst president since World War II, 34%. So my message to President Obama this morning is, Mr. President, cheer up. Things can't get any worse. They can only get better. That's my parting shot for today, folks. Have a great 4th of July. We'll see you Monday morning.
This
Have a good
is
one.
the Bill Press Show.